there, folks. So we're in the middle of a beat-em-up resurgence. There's been some beat-em-ups popping up in recent years, like whether it be a remaster or a sequel or a collection or whatever. Now, beat-em-ups are among my favorite video game genres, mainly for two reasons. One, because they're repetitive. I love repetitiveness, even in gaming. It's I think I've actually talked about it on this channel before. And two, because growing up in the '90s, I remember watching a lot of martial arts stuff, from Power Rangers to Ninja Turtle movies, Mortal Kombat movies, Jackie Chan movies. Of course, a lot of these movies and TV shows were from Japan and China, and they were kind of just redubbed in English. But we as kids in the 90s didn't really care about that. We were just kind of yeah, I want to be a Power Ranger, yeah! Anyway, that's the other thing, beat-em-ups kind of remind me of a lot of those type of things. And so, like I said, in recent years we've seen Streets of Rage 4, Ninja Saviors, Ninja Warriors, or Return, whatever. It's a remaster of one of Natsume's many hidden gems from back in the day. And, of course, there's Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which, another thing with this, something I was hoping for, and it is happening, is we're getting DLC that includes Usagi Yojimbo as a playable character, and maybe we'll get some other characters like Mondo Gecko or Mona Lisa or the Lotus Ninja. I think that was her name, right? And we've also seen, there was a trailer for Toxic Crusaders. That's getting a new beat-em-up game. That looks really good. The only thing with that is that I'm hoping that Junkyard Dog and Major Disaster will be playable characters, because they showed them in the trailer, so to speak, or the title screen thing, but they didn't really show them during the gameplay, so I'm hoping they will be playable, so to speak, but we'll probably have to wait for more trailers and stuff. Well, there's also the Beat-em-up collection. Couldn't forget about that. And there was the Battletoads game that came out a few years ago, which I personally liked it. It was good, but not as great as the stuff from the 90s. The art style is kind of, and the gameplay is, pretty solid, actually, even though it's I don't think there's enough beat-em-up levels, but there have been other Battletoads games like that in the past, Battle Maniacs, for example. But the music is awesome, and the story, or the plot, I should say, is that basically the Toads are trying to become relevant again, which, honestly, I think that's pretty funny and ingenious. But anyway, moving on, because I want to talk about some other possibilities for future beat-em-ups, continuing with Battletoads, because, like I said, I kind of like that game, just not as much as the classic stuff, and I can understand why some people might skip it. But here's a perfectly good game that should be remastered. Battletoads Double Dragon. Remake this in HD. That would be absolutely amazing. And maybe make it for more players, maybe make it for 5 players, or even just 4 players, so you could play as, all the characters, although that might be a little crowded on a game like this, but I don't know, it's just a thought. The other one is Peacekeepers, which is basically a prequel to Brawl Brothers, and I think there was another one. It might have been Rival Turf or something, but in Japan it's a different name. It's called the Rushing Beat Sierra is the name of the series in Japan, and these games are a bit clunky, but I've always held a special place in my heart for them, so I wouldn't mind seeing these games kind of a resurgence. The only thing I love more than a beat-em-up is a medieval beat-em-up. So there's a few that come to mind. One is, what the heck was it? The Golden Axe games, of course. Remember them, Sega? Remember Golden Axe? You did Streets of Rage. How about Golden Axe? Well, anyway, you could do a sequel, a 4th game, or whatever, but what I also would love to see would be an HD remaster of Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder. See, that's the only Golden Axe game, probably the best one in the series, too. It was the only one that was never ported to the Genesis, or any other console for that matter. It was exclusive to the arcades. and it was pretty unique in a way. Like there was all the characters. Well, there's only 4 of them, but they had like different spells, if you will. Like there was this kid Trix, who was like a farmer who used a pitchfork, and he could like summon a tree with apples so you could replenish your health. There was a big guy with an axe that wore a backpack that had the little dwarf guy in it. He had a spell that would basically a giant skull would come down and breathe smoke and turn all the enemies on the screen to stone. I remember there's a part where you're on a ship and it's like pitch black, and then you hear this like whooshing, whirring sound, like, and then the lights start flickering and there's like this skeleton in black armor swinging a sickle around. It's just such an awesome game. Like I said, it was never ported on any of the consoles. Well, I mean, obviously there's emulation and stuff, but whatever. That's not the point. And another one is Dungeons & Dragons: The Tower of Doom. That was actually, both those games used to be at the arcade that was across the street from my mom's house back in the day. Oh God, I remember playing those all the time. Tower of Doom, Dungeons & Dragons, that's actually one of my favorite games of all time. And I'll never forget the time, because I beat that at least like 3 times in the arcade. And one of them was, it was my brother, our sister, and my brother's friend Mike. The 4 of us were like, hey, let's walk over. It was like a Saturday or whatever. Like, hey, let's walk over to Replay. So we did, and all 4 of us played that and beat it in one sit, and it was cool. I know the game, because there was also a sequel, which I never played until about like 10 or 12 years ago, because they released the 2 of them together like in a set on like Xbox 360, PS3. I don't know about the Wii, but I know it was on the Wii U. Which is, it's funny how it was on the Wii U, but it's not on the Switch. But yeah, that's the reason I brought that up. It's like, they really need to bring those games back again. Maybe even make a new one. I wouldn't mind seeing that. One more medieval one is King of Dragons, which I was actually just playing that the other night, which is one of Capcom's classic beat-em-ups. And even though it's in the beat-em-up bundle, I wouldn't mind seeing like a sequel or something, or maybe even if they just remake it and make it for like 4 or 5 players, that would be kind of cool. Or if, like I said, make a sequel and have like more characters. You could be for like 4 players or whatever. And of course, we can't talk about Capcom beat-em-ups without talking about Final Fight, because now, a number of people feel like the spin-off games were kind of what killed the franchise. Maybe they were. Like, I honestly kind of liked Final Fight Streetwise, like, not as much as like the beat-em-ups, but I thought in its own unique way, I thought it was a pretty good game. But yeah, it's like, we got Streets of Rage 4, why not Final Fight 4? That's a tongue twister. Or you could just remake the classic ones, like put them into like its own separate collection, make it for like more players, or add more characters, or whatever, or just, like I said, make a new one. You know, it's like, this is the perfect time. I mean, because many people consider Final Fight to be like the best series in the beat-em-up genre, especially from that era. You know, this is like the perfect time to bring it back. Maybe going back to Sega real quick, maybe they could bring back Die Hard Arcade and Dynamite Cop. You know, touch up the graphics, like put them together in a set, and like maybe add some additional features and content. Which I know Dynamite Cop had the hell do you call it? The art gallery or illustrations or whatever, but you know, you could add some other stuff in there as well. And I'll end it with this, 2 more, is that, like, because we've seen, like, licensed games resurface, like Ninja Turtles and now Toxic Crusaders, you could remake some of the other licensed beat-em-up games from back in the day, like, Stone Protectors and, what the hell is it called? The one, Pirates of Dark Water, that's the name, just slipped my mind. You know. Another one is Bucky O'Hare, but I think that was actually a shooter, but it's still another good example of like an obscure game based off a cartoon, based off a comic or something that could use a resurgence, but, you know, seeing as how I'm talking about a different genre, maybe I should stop at that, so. But what are some of the other beat-em-ups you folks would like to see make a comeback? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.